most positive developments you have seen in recent years concerning the status of indigenous peoples and the recognition of their traditional knowledge?
There has been important advances in the recognition of indigenous peoples' rights at the global level. We have robust international standards, and the recognition of our collective rights is something that cannot be questioned. The UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, the ILO Convention are the basis of those international standards. But
go ahead.
That recognition is already becoming part of what we can consider the standards of the human rights instruments. The great challenge remains in the implementation at the national level, as well as the increasing criminalization of indigenous rights defenders when we raise our voices in defense of our land, territories, and resources. I would say that the recognition of traditional knowledge is something that we have been promoting in the last almost 30 years. And the fact that the platform of traditional knowledge of indigenous peoples and local communities is something that was recognized in the Paris Agreement on climate change is an important step because it opens an opportunity for, I would say, an inter-scientific discussion between representatives of member states and representatives of indigenous peoples.
And how this indigenous knowledge could be better taken into account?
Through our traditional knowledge, we have solutions for a lot of the current crisis, but these knowledges and our innovations are still not taken into account in modern science. Modern science does not take I would say, into account that the basis of its advances in many cases lies in the knowledge that we have developed and innovated as indigenous peoples through history. The first thing is that we need to open what have been considered as open science. We need spaces where we can really sit between scientific from different knowledge systems and begin to discuss how to solve, for example, climate change. Now that we are involved in the discussion on food system, that has proven to be an important issue that we can discuss between knowledge holders, between different scientific. But we have also begun to open discussion with scientists that are working in the space, for example. We believe that traditional knowledge of indigenous peoples also can enrich the scientists that are working on earth sciences, that are working on artificial intelligence, because we see different innovation that indigenous peoples are making to adapt to climate change, to maintain biodiversity in their territories, to produce more food. So I think that it's important that we create these spaces in which we can sit together, we can respect our different knowledge system, and we can begin to identify innovation and replicate adaptation actions that are being taken by communities, traditional seed banks, or innovation in production system, what we are doing in drought areas. At the UN, as means of implementation, they have created a platform and a forum that meets every year to discuss how science and innovation can support the implementation of the SDG. That's a space in which we are trying to open the inter-scientific dialogue, but it hasn't opened yet. We have also been promoting in the discussion of the Food System Summit, the possibility of meeting with the scientific committee that is supporting the Secretary General on this issue. So there are some openings, but we need a lot of work from the modern scientific community, because they're still, I would say, they still do not respect our knowledge system enough.
But there is growing evidence about the benefits of combining traditional knowledge and modern science. So things are going in the right direction, don't you think so?
We have been able to gather evidence. We have been able to promote Indigenous persons as researchers, applying an intercultural approach. And we have been also able to include and invite other, for example, FAO, and we from the UN or UNESCO, and together we have been able to gather evidence that proves that Indigenous peoples' knowledge system really contribute to reduce deforestation, to protect biodiversity, to prepare the people from the communities to confront disaster. We have been able to prove that through those knowledge system, we can increase resilience. So I would say we are advancing.